Woo! All right. How's it going?
Good, good. Very excited to be here. Very first time ever.
I know it's our first podcast. I feel like we should have started this so long ago because I think that we probably have the most interesting chats in the entire world, that we would have had so much footage. But nevertheless, it's never too late to start. And we're starting today, so I'm very, very excited. Does this mean that our podcast would fall under the sign of a Libra? Because I think we're in Libra season, so our podcast business is now a Libra.
Are in Libra season, and this
Yeah.
podcast will now officially be born into Libra, it seems like.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'm happy with that. I like Libras. I like
Yes, me
that.
too.
It's a very communicative sign, so it all works out. So I was thinking today, what we could speak about is, I don't know if you've struggled with this. I'm sure you probably have, because I feel like majority of people do. But I just am finding it so hard to do this particular activity that I know is so good for me. Like, honestly, I don't know what it is. I feel like I've usually been a very disciplined person in my past, but I've just hit this bump in a road where I know that walking in the morning is going to be really helpful for me. There's a beautiful place here that I can walk. It's safe. It's like 10 minutes away. I know that walking in the morning is going to help me like sleep better at night, which I'm struggling with. I know it's like the perfect low impact exercise. Like, there's literally no downside for me going to walk every morning, but I just cannot do it. It's not happening.
That sounds so familiar.
Yeah,
I have
honestly.
what I found for me is it's strange. I get into things, I start doing them, I do really great with them, and then something will happen. For instance, I'll go on
Mm.
holiday, right?
Yeah.
And then the thing that I do, because it's not in the environment where I normally do it, I don't do it, or there's not the
Yeah.
focus that I normally want to have, and all the rest of it. And I stop doing it. So,
Mm.
to give you an example of this, wasn't a holiday, I wish it was. We moved not so long ago this year.
Yeah.
So in Hamilton, I had certain daily routines that I did. It was nice and easy, and I got onto it. And then we moved. And I mean, of course, there's an upheaval and there's a whole new environment to get used to and all the rest of the things. I haven't gotten back to my routines yet. And I'm like, I know I have to do this. I know I have to do this, and I don't.
I
So
know. I know.
yeah, absolutely get it.
And moving is so stressful anyways. And I feel like once you're used to an environment, it kind of it has like certain triggers that tell you, okay, like get onto this habit or do this. So when there's like a kind of clink in that and you're somewhere else, all of those like maybe triggers go away, whether it's for like a good or a bad habit. It can kind of put a pause on things. But
Mhm.
it's just so strange. It's like, you know that these things are really good for you. And the thing is, when I go for a walk, and I'm sure it's the same with your habits, I feel so much better afterwards. So why is it? Like, I did it, I signed up and I did it once, Mariska. Like, I've done it once. It's been at least 6 weeks since I signed up.
Sounds like going to the gym, buying the membership, and oh, not going.
Well, that's the thing, right? I have a trainer and I am so all for like hiring a trainer if your budget allows it, because I feel like when you're putting money towards like a service or like having a personal trainer, you're putting that energy, you're putting that accountability, you're paying for their expertise, but you're also really paying for that accountability. So it's fantastic. And I'm really happy to see him twice a week. And I would never ever want to stand someone up. So I'm also, that's like another kind of boundary and like another kind of enforcement for me to just kind of go and keep up with it.
Yep.
But when it comes to walking by myself. And I think this happens, like if you're doing something individually, when you don't necessarily have an accountability partner,
Mm-hmm.
how do you do the things that you know you need to, but there's no like kick in the ass, if you get what I'm saying, or there's no repercussion. Like no one is gonna slap me on the wrist for not walking today. No, nothing's gonna happen.
No. And I think that maybe is the most difficult piece of it that I
Yeah.
found for myself. I mean, if I do things with other people, oh, it's so easy. Well, it's not always easy, but it's easy to get into it, right?
Yeah.
It's the whole, well, I told my buddy I'm going to be there and we will both pitch up and we will both do it and we'll get on with it. So the thing that I was doing in Hamilton that at the moment I'm not doing, right, is I was part of a BNI group. So it's a business growth group that I was part of, and really had a lot of fun with them, really got to know a lot of people. Being a solopreneur, it is sometimes difficult to meet other business and like-minded people. I mean,
Yeah.
you meet up with clients, yes, you do all the prospecting. It's not that you don't talk to people, but it's not quite the same. And trying to talk to family members, oh man, I just don't always get it, which is fine, right? I have no problem with that whatsoever. You need to go through the process to actually understand what's going on. But having a bit of a support system was so helpful. And I had a look before we moved. There is a BNI group where I am now. I haven't started it yet.
So what do you think is holding you back? What's holding you back from getting in contact with them?
That's a good question. I have no excuse. I literally, there is no excuse I can think of. Yes, there is back in Hamilton, there was, I think, 5 or 6 different groups that I could choose to join. So the choice was a little bit more, and they met at different times and all the rest of it. So where I'm at the moment, there's only one. There is 2, but for the other one, I need to travel really, really far, which I don't want to be doing. So there is one, and they meet in the mornings, not detrimental, right? It is, though, during family time. So maybe that's the excuse that I came up with in my head. It's like, yeah, but I'm not really starting my work day yet, blah, blah. And it's an excuse. It's an excuse. It's one day in the week, right? It takes me an hour and a half max. I'm done with it. It's one day. It's not even exercise half an hour a day, right? It's 1 day in a week. One.
Exactly. 1 day.
Don't even. But yeah, it's, I think, having that accountability, having somebody that has the proverbial boot on, the size that you need the kick of, right? Because sometimes I need a little kick, and I don't really need that much encouragement. And other times I need a boot, right? A big boot.
How do we kick ourselves? How do we like gently, lovingly kick ourselves into doing something like the BNI once a week, or me with my walks? When we're on our own.
When we're on our own, I think the easiest way to go about it is firstly to understand how we function as an individual, right? So for all different things will most probably work. For me personally, I preferably need an accountability partner of some sort. And I'm not saying it needs to be somebody that needs to go with me to the BNI. But so say for instance, because my husband asked me just the other day, the BNI thing, right? He was like, so when are you starting up with that again? I'm like, do I need to right now? So it is about having that other person that you sort of go, you know what? Yes, I'm going to be doing this, and they hold me accountable. And I think that, in my mind, that's where the boot size differs, right?
Right.
So the bigger motivator I need, so the bigger the boot needs to be, right? The more stringent I need that other person to be. So I'm not going to ask somebody to help me with something that I really struggle to get into. If they're like, oh, yeah, don't worry about it, you can do it next week.
Yeah.
That's not helpful. It's not going to help me at all, right? If they only cheerlead literally when I'm doing it, but when I'm not doing it, it's like, yeah, whatever. You're not helping me.
You need some tough love. You
I,
need some like fire under you. Yeah, you need the fire.
I need consequences of some sort. And to your point, maybe it is having a trainer that I paid, right? And it's
Yeah.
not necessarily about the money. It might be. The
Mm.
money might be part of that motivation, right? As soon as I need to actually pay somebody, what
Yeah.
for me in my head, what I'm doing is I'm taking energy that I had to expend because I needed to make the money somehow, right? I had to
Yeah.
expend energy to get it. Now I'm taking it and give it to somebody else, and I
Mm.
am not putting in the energy to actually do anything with it. So
Yeah.
in my own head is like, well, now I have two sticks. One, I need to pay you, and two,
Mm.
I pay again by not using my investment properly.
Yes, exactly. So it's such a loss if you're not doing anything. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So what do you find in general? What works best for you when you need to
Yeah.
do something?
Well, I think, for example, I really wanted to get back into yoga. So again, I joined a group and now I paid to go to yoga weekly. Again, with training, I'm paying a trainer, and those two are fantastic. Like putting your money kind of where your mouth is, like investing, it does so many things. So obviously, though, my budget won't allow me to just output all of these finances for like every single hobby that I want to do or every single activity. You have to be like realistic with it. It has to be a kind of safe investment, so a healthy investment where okay, like I am putting this money towards this activity, this person who I'm paying for their expertise and accountability, but it's not a stressful thing, it's not strenuous. So for other things that I want to do, like the daily walking, there's two things that I think could be really helpful that I just really need to implement and put in place. The first one is, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's like the 2 minute rule. So instead of like focusing on, oh my God, like I have to go walk for an hour or whatever the case is, it's just doing the easiest first step of that activity, which should take you like 2 minutes. So putting on your shoes, putting on your gym clothes, putting on whatever. And once you do that, you're so much more likely to actually just go ahead and walk or go ahead and do whatever. So that's a huge one. And I think that's very, very helpful. And it's also like what I do with cleaning. Like I don't focus on my entire apartment. I just focus on like the kitchen. Then I do the dining table. Then I do the living room. And it's just way more manageable. And once you do it, you're in a flow and you're going to keep going with it.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then the second thing is this thing called I don't know if it's called temptation bundling. That sounds very like erotic. Yeah, that sounds very like spicy for habits. But there's this
Hey, it's a
thing.
spicy habit.
Yeah, no, I think it is actually called temptation bundling or habit stacking. I can't remember. But it was by this amazing book called Atomic Habits. And essentially it's kind of pairing something that you love doing with this activity that maybe you're not so crazy about. I do like walking, but I also love like listening to podcasts and I love listening to audiobooks and stuff like that. So kind of pairing it, thinking, okay, well, during my walk, I get to listen to this podcast. It saves me time. I get to kind of do two things at once. And one of them is something I really, really love. And I'm getting the benefit of the other thing. Oh yeah, and I can't remember if that's temptation or habit stacking. The other thing is like finding a habit that you do every single day. So like for me, it's making coffee. That's something I do pretty much every day, and kind of pairing a habit with making that coffee. So yeah, like as of right now, it's playing Wordle. So like when I have my coffee, I play Wordle, which is kind of like a brain game.
Uh-huh.
It really is a game, but
Right.
whatever.
Do you learn new words?
It's kind of, yeah, yeah. But we'll say it's like, mental self-care. It's stimulating in some way. But yeah, so that's kind of something that I do. So just adding in that little thing to something that you do all the time, it really, really helps. And I think telling people like, okay, like this is my goal, like this is something that I want to do, and kind of, watch this space. When people will say to me like a week later, oh, like did you start that or did you do that? And you're thinking, oh my God, like no, I didn't. And you feel kind of bad, like you have a kind of healthy guilt. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It kind of keeps your actions in check.
Yes. Yes.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I love so one of the other things while you were talking about the habit stacking and the
Mm.
2-minute rule was this, and I think it might come from also Atomic Habits, is the idea of starting with whatever it is that you want to do. Start with something small, ridiculously small, right?
Yeah.
I want to do, I don't know, push-ups, right?
Mm.
Don't go and say, oh, I want to do 10 push-ups or 20 push-ups or whatever. My poor arms won't
Yeah.
really make it because I haven't done push-ups in ages. Start with one. Just do a push-up. And then not necessarily tomorrow go, okay, now I'm going to do 2 or 4, whatever. Right? Tomorrow do another one. The intention is to get it into a routine more so than it is to do a whole bunch of the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Just starting small.
Yeah, if we can get that routine going, it makes it so much easier to do the thing.
100%, 100%. Like,
We already have our shoes on and
yeah,
have our feet out the door. Okay, well, now we're walking. I can walk to the gate and I can walk back. It's fine. I just do that,
exactly.
right?
But
And
once you start, you just always want to keep going. That's the thing. I think, but also something that we do need to remember, and everyone that's listening also needs to remember, is half the time, or probably more than half the time, like 80% of the time, you don't necessarily like want to go do that thing. You know what I mean? Like the feeling. You have to kind of override that feeling.
yes,
You
yes.
do.
I think that it's interesting that you mention that feeling because a lot of the times we'll be like, yeah, I know I need to go and walk. I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Right. And then as soon as we go, I don't feel like it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Whereas even if I don't feel like it and I just do the thing, even if it's the small thing, right? The feeling of the thing comes in. It's like,
Of
okay,
course.
I've got my shoes on. I'm at the gate. You can just as well go out the gate,
Yeah.
right? And go around the block and come back.
Hmm.
It's a nice day. Look, the sun is shining. Fresh air. Wonderful. So
Yeah.
the feeling changes and then our thinking changes. And we know that our thinking and our feeling is attached to one another. They talk all the time.
100%.
So of course we can change. It's so wonderful. We can change the way we feel by the way we think and the stuff we do with our bodies. So we
Yeah.
can get ourselves out of that, oh yeah, but I don't feel like it. Because
And
look what I'm doing,
yeah.
right? As soon as I say I don't feel like it, it's like, ugh, everything just goes down. It's like, ugh, floppy.
100%. 100%. And like, we need to remember that our feelings are not permanent, and
Mhm.
we have influence over our feelings. We often forget that, you know what I mean? We can change the feeling. And I think it was Marie Forleo that said this, but action, no, clarity comes from, kind of being in action, being in motion. You don't really get new ideas, you don't get any inspiration, you don't get kind of any energy or vitality when you're stagnant. Those things happen from doing. So kind of keeping that in mind also really, really helps. I feel as though I really look like this is being filmed with a potato. The camera on my end is so blurry, it's insane. I'm going to turn on the light, bear with me.
I love being filmed with a potato. I'm not sure how the potato camera normally works. I think it might be, I do know that with potatoes you can generate electricity enough so for lights, if you do try to, yeah. So you take, fun fact, you take a potato, of course, and then you take two opposing electrodes, you plug it in, and then you can have a little light that actually goes on.
Wow, you learn something new every day.
It's like a little battery, right? But now,
Yeah.
how well it will work for camera sort of action, I'm not.
Oh, that's me being silly. But something I did want to mention today, as we're on the topic, and I'm putting it out there, I'm putting it out for the world. There's a very popular challenge. I'm sure lots of you have heard about it. It's called the 75 Hard. And it was developed by an entrepreneur, which I think is really interesting because, again, it's someone that kind of works for themselves. They obviously have to have a lot of boundaries and accountability. It's not like they're going into work. But they developed this program, and you essentially work out twice a day, you follow a diet, you drink a gallon of water, you read 10 pages of something non-fiction, so anything personal development related, etc., and you take progress pictures, and if you fail, you're back to like day one. I personally don't think that that is sustainable. However, I love a challenge. I'm thinking about doing like a 30 medium. So 75 days, you're supposed to keep it up for 75 days. I'm thinking more like a 30-day challenge. And well, I mean, I already kind of follow a fairly healthy diet. I am gluten-free, I'm celiac. And so that would be easy for me to do. I would personally drink like 2.5 liters of water, because you should really drink water based on your weight. So like, yeah, like 2.5, maybe 3 liters. Work out once a day, or at least move my body once a day, whether it's half an hour, or 10 minutes. Just at least get that movement. Yeah, get the movement in once a day. Read. I think I can definitely read like 10 pages a day, and then obviously take pictures and stuff. So I'm gonna give that a go. I'm gonna try it.
So will today be day number 1?
Ooh.
Or
Yeah.
tomorrow be day number 1?
Let's see. We're September 28th. Yeah, no, today could be day 1.
Okay, so
Yeah.
October 28th.
This is day 1.
The full 30.
Yeah. I'm putting it out there. The world is my accountability partner.
There you go. Well, and me.
Yeah.
Of course. You see
Yes.
quite often. I know you see the world, or the world sees you quite often. How often you see the world, I don't know. But me and you see each other quite often too.
Yes, we do. We do. So I will report back in a month's time how I found the 75 medium, and I will do a lot of behind the scenes and see if I I'll document it. I will document it. Maybe I'll also add in a practice. I'll play around with it.
That sounds like fun. Okay, so seeing as you have a challenge, what would I do for my challenge?
Maybe you should do the 2-minute rule with your BNI group. Like, even
well, it's a little bit difficult to just go for 2 minutes. What I was thinking.
No, like send them an email and be like, hi, it's Mariska. I want to start. Like, do that quick intro, like just get the ball rolling.
just get things
Yeah,
into it again.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? It might not be BNI because
Okay.
I'm not sure. So with BNI, there's a few different rules and tricks and all the rest of it. So I'll need to see whether
Right.
it might not be BNI, but it
Okay.
will be a community that I can join. So by the end of the month, I will have joined a community where I need to commit at least a couple of hours each week.
All right. Okay.
Right. So this might be Toastmasters or BNI or whatever it is
Yeah.
that I get into, but there will be
Could be
one
anything.
community that will have a weekly commitment that I will commit to, that I will join by the end of the month. It will have happened.
Perfect. Okay, so we have our challenges. I'm excited about this.
Me too, and a little bit scared.
Yeah, but that's good. Feel the fear. Feel the
Yeah,
fear and go through.
exactly. Right. If it
Yeah,
doesn't scare you just like a little bit, is it really worth doing?
exactly. Exactly. Easier said than done, but it's very true. If you feel a little fearful, it's probably a good sign because it means that you're being stretched and you're growing, which is always a good thing.
Exactly. And I mean, for me, that's great because I'm in a new environment. I have not met, other than in the shopping mall, like the people behind the till, I haven't met
Yeah.
anybody yet. Right. So I don't have anybody that I can go for coffee with and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
This will be a good opportunity for me to actually be able to do that.
Woo! I'm
Yeah,
happy about that. I'm excited about that.
me too. Plus, we can come and report back and
Yes,
let everybody know
will.
in a month from now how
Yeah,
it's gone. And of course, we can check in every now and again throughout the month, just
definitely.
whether we have a track sort of going.
Well, next week we would have had a week in, so
Mhm.
we can give our progress on a week. We can stay up to date that way. I think that would be great.
Yeah, that will be great. Plus, now we have all the rest of you guys to also keep us accountable.
For
And
sure.
you know what I would love to know, right?
What?
Is what is that one thing that listening to that podcast came up for you that you want to be doing that you are absolutely not doing, right? Or if that feels a little bit embarrassing, it's fine. The one thing that you are committing to for this month. And then do
Like
the
that.
challenge with us. I think
Oh, I
that
love that. Yeah, that
why
sounds
not?
great. Okay, I'm also going to ask my Instagram followers that question. I'm going to take a quick little video. Day one podcast. This is exciting. Okay, hold on. Let's get the stuff out of the way. Okay, give a little wave. Okay. Fantastic. All right. Well, I think we are all set for today. So, so good speaking with you, Mariska, as always. I'm very, very excited about our podcast journey. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. Please, send us an email or just send us a message if you enjoyed this or if there's anything in particular you want us to address and speak about. We're more than happy and we love hearing your suggestions. So please do get in touch.
Yeah, and of course, like, subscribe, share away, and
Yes.
comments. We love comments. We read all of them. So we would
Yes.
love to know what you guys are planning to be up to for this month, big or small, doesn't matter.
Perfect. Thanks for listening.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay.